but I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With the rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's light in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Well, good evening, and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Tonight, we're taking your calls as we get weird. I'm sure you're shocked. That's really been our calling card for at least several years now. We were weird before that, just a different type of weird. Tonight, shout out James out there. Again, he's probably not going to be part of the show tonight. He usually chips in something somewhere along the way, but he's not feeling well. And I was chatting with James a little bit earlier, and I was saying, hey, what's going on? Hope you're feeling better. His teeth are hurting and stuff. Well, they gave him some antibiotics, and not to get too into James's business here, but he said that it's weird when he takes these particular antibiotics because his dreams go super crazy and super vivid as part of it. And I was like, that's a curious thing. I wonder why that is. And so, of course, here we are with that idea to begin, because I started thinking, of course, now this is how weird I am and how weird this idea gets, because I was thinking about not just the dream space, but, we've talked about this, the Aboriginal believed a lot of tribes, but down there in Australia, I was going to say Australia, actually, I believe that the primordial space before humanity, before time, existed in the dream realm. And so we go to the dream realm. It's called the dreaming. And then we come back and sort of bring information back from it to the waking world. Now, the bizarre part about that is that it suggests it's a place, like a static place where we go when we actually dream. And that's the wild part, because I started thinking about what James said and how, okay, so you take a particular antibiotic or a drug, and there's different drugs with side effects and things like this. And I don't mean, I mean, actual pharmacy drugs, not street drugs, okay? Don't do drugs, kids. All the disclaimers apply. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, so if the dream space is static like that, and we visit it somehow by kind of tuning into it, like a radio or something like that, right? Our REM sleep or the theta waves or whatever's going on in our brain, it tunes us in. It's like a radio. And then so we're able to visit it, and then we're able to sort of come back and tune out of that space when we're awake and our waking hours are non-REM sleep. But here's the wild part. Imagine if there was a drug that you could actually take that would again, a pharmaceutical safe drug. This is hypothetical. I don't know if this is true or not, but would actually carry you into that dream space in this larger context of it being a place. Okay. And that's where we start. Just the idea of what this looks like. And of course, it got me thinking about a whole other number of wild things that came up as part of the brainstorming process. But that's where we start. Like what do you guys know about that dream space? That sort of aboriginal, or the dreaming itself, the dream space that was the primordial aspect of what humans are. And, again, all the disclaimers apply. These are just thought experiments. There's no truth to be found here. This is just ideas, just people talking about wild stuff and different belief systems and patterns throughout not just the modern world, but the ancient world as well. But what do you know about it? Because, of course, the modern dream interpretation bit says that of what dreams actually are is it's sort of a sub routine in our brain that does maintenance and does some risk testing without actually taking risk, and there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on in our brain. However, again, if you see it as another place, like an actual place you visit, then think about that. You take a particular antibiotic and you are there vividly having wild dreams, almost as if you're lucid, like kind of trained in that lucid dreaming style. So what do you think about that? And how weird does that part get? And do you think it is possible to maybe synthesize some chemical that would tune our brain into a particular state that would allow us to enter the dreaming 24 hours a day, actually have it with us the entire time we're not just asleep, but also awake, and be able to be in sort of two realms at the same time? Does that seem wild to suggest? Okay, so that's where we start. And I started digging a little bit, and I was getting into some out-of-body experience stuff. Of course, Robert Monroe. I talk about the guy a lot when it comes to that type of thing. He, journeys out of body, wrote several books, and he's got he's passed on now, but he's still got his the Robert Monroe Institute still teaching these courses on how to do the hemisync, which is the two different tones and one in each ear that sort of allows the brain to enter this state where you can escape your body, like actually have that out of body experience, right? And I was thinking not just in terms of, let's say, some kind of synthesized chemical or an audio situation like the Monroe Institute does. I wonder if you can be forced into the dream space. Okay. And we'll get to that. It's weird because there is some precedent to this conceptually. Again, no truth to be found here. Don't hold me to it. Just kind of thinking about ideas and different and wild ways to look at the world. But that's that. That's where we start. Shout out James. I hope you're better tonight. He said he was feeling a little better already. So thank goodness for that. It's no good being sick, man. Being sick is just the worst. And James has had his fair share. It's unfortunate. But thinking about you, buddy. I hope you're well and heal up quick. Okay, so I'm calling it the dream that eats you, and we'll get to what that means. And soul retrieval missions, which of course do fit into the space of the Monroe Institute. I didn't know this. I was kind of doing a little digging while I was on the road today, and I went, oh, wow, this is absolutely wild. So we'll get to that, and I'll explain all that stuff. And being stuck between two worlds is what I seek. There it is. Shadow Roving Fungus in the chat. Okay, so what we're going to do is take a quick break, get a word from our sponsor, and then we'll come back and I'll read you some of the Substack, because it's more important to hear it in a coherent manner instead of me rambling on like a raging know nothing. But you get the idea. So that's what's going on tonight. And I do wonder, not just about sort of synthesizing a chemical compound, or maybe those binaural beats, or again the hemisync aspect of this, but who knows if we're going to be able to not just synthesize our dreams in the space of sort of a download eventually with Neuralink and this type of stuff we do talk about, that the Mr. Elon Musk himself has said will happen very soon. That's creepy to me. I don't want to download my dreams, because then they can be hacked and stuff. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. But imagine if you could be forced into that dream realm through some sort of audio or some sort of chemical, or maybe a combination of that, whatever that space is. I don't know. Maybe not, somewhere in between. What do you think about that? And do you believe that the dream realm is actually its own place? Or is it, again, sort of the subroutine in our mind that's kind of, the scientific version of it? What do you believe? As usual, you know me, I'm not about the cold and hard facts. You could just go read Wikipedia for that. I'm about speculation and wondering what comes next on the bleeding edge of science, but then also what kind of lies tucked within us, in our minds and our hearts and our souls, as very complicated human entities. That's that. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up in exactly 1 minute after a word from our sponsor. In this case, that will be... Who is that? That will be the Stoic Mindset. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Do not go anywhere. Feeling stressed? Overwhelmed? In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get swept away by our emotions. Take a breath and find your inner strength with the Stoic Minute.
You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength.
The ancient Stoic philosophers understood that we can't control everything in life, but we can control how we react.
The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts.
Focus on what you can influence. Cultivate a positive mindset and let go of what you can't change. Find your inner strength. Live each day with courage, wisdom, justice, and moderation. Embrace the Stoic virtues and find peace within. The Stoic Minute, brought to you by Jack in Oregon. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let us continue, shall we? All right, straight from the write-up. This is very good. I do recommend you read it, and it'll kind of fill you in on some of the details I'm talking about. That's why I think it's important to just read it straight so I don't ramble on and ramble into the night. But anyway, here we go. Straight from the thing. The dream space is not imagination. That distinction matters more than almost anything else that follows, so it is worth sitting with for a moment. Imagination is something you do. You conjure it. You direct it. You dissolve it when you are finished. The space Robert Monroe called Locale II operates under a different set of rules entirely. It does not wait for you to construct it. It already exists. What you bring when you enter is not creative vision, but something more like a tuning fork. And the realm responds to whatever frequency you carry. Monroe described it as a non-physical environment, as real and substantial as any physical location, except that the laws governing it are not the laws of matter. Thought is the only law. What a consciousness expects or fears snaps into solid form around it. Landscapes rise from the substrate of attention. Cities assemble themselves along the edges of intention. Personal heavens take shape with texture, weight, and temperature. Personal hells do the same. The beings encountered inside it interact with what appears to be independent intelligence. They have agendas that are not your agendas. They respond to you in ways you did not script. Time stretches or loops or dissolves entirely, and the space does not apologize for any of this. It simply continues, patient and generative, building from the materials you bring without asking permission. Now, we've talked about this. We did a whole show on this exact Locale II in the past, and that's worth looking up again if you want to do that. That stuff's all free, by the way. Just go to troubledminds.org, hit search on the episodes there, and then just type in Locale II, and you'll get it. And it's a weird space. Now to me, so I'm merging two ideas, the out-of-body experience and, of course, the dream realm and the dream state. Because, like I said, is it just like the hemisync protocol of Robert Monroe and the Monroe Institute, is it possible to knock somebody into the dream realm, to sort of just push them into that space and have them inhabit it sort of without trying to, without them even wanting to, against their will? Okay. And now I don't recommend anybody does this. It's just, again, a thought experiment. But that becomes the weird part of this, because there's a whole lot that goes into this in terms of the larger context of the out-of-body experience, the dream realm, and then forcing ourselves out of body in that Monroe Institute way. And, meditation has been talked about in the past, these hemisyncs, the binaural beats, shamanic chants, and sort of the drumming of the old ways. There's a lot of ways to actually do this, at least from what we're told, right? And if anybody has experience with this at all, I'd love to hear it, because there are people that have done out-of-body work and have explained it to us in depth on the show before. And it seems for everybody, it is a little bit different. So, as much as you can kind of do the scholarship and read and dig as much as you want about this, it still seems as if talking to people who have done these things is still the best way to find out information about it, as usual, right? Anyway, so back to this. Now, the hemisync and the entry into the out-of-body experience can happen deliberately. So Monroe's own work with this hemisync technology, the binaural audio process that synchronizes the brain's hemispheres and shifts awareness into specific focus levels, represents one of the most documented routes in. Again, links in the description down here, just the Monroe Institute. Very easy to find, monroeinstitute.org, and there you go. Okay, back to this. So the body rests, breathing slows, the physical anchor remains in place, but attention begins to separate, first slightly and then dramatically from the usual stream of sensory data. Focus 10 is mind awake, body asleep. Focus 12 is expanded awareness. As the numbers climb, the physical world does not simply dim, it becomes less relevant. The way a very loud room becomes background noise once you stop trying to parse the individual conversations. The mind moves freely. The environment it moves through responds to intention with an immediacy that physical reality never does. An object forms at a glance. A location changes at a thought. An interaction unfolds exactly as it is held in mind. And experienced explorers consistently report the same thing. It feels more vivid than waking life, not less. The reason for this is straightforward once you think it through. The sensory input arrives straight from consciousness rather than being filtered through the physical senses and is translated by the brain's interpretation apparatus. There is no delay. There is no degradation. Whatever is present is present completely. The risk is not theoretical. It announces itself the moment you understand how the space operates. Now, the risk here is, and the reason I'm talking about it in this particular manner, so go back to James and the, taking a pharmaceutical, again, legal stuff, don't do drugs, kids, and it's giving him vivid dreams. And it made me wonder if there's a way to force people into that space, okay, against their will. And, he didn't ask for these vivid dreams, but he's getting them. And, kind of easily they come to him now. For just a moment, he's not going to be on this stuff forever, but for a few days here or whatever, he's going to be kind of stuck in this space where he's getting these wild dreams. Now, the thing that made me kind of put these two ideas together was exactly the same thing. With the hemisync of Robert Monroe, clearly it's something that you do intentionally. But recognize that we've talked about this in the past as well, that, you don't know what kind of music is on the internet. You put on headphones and just fire up a YouTube channel, and maybe, just maybe, there's something out there that's kind of mimicking that hemisync technology where it gives you, different tones in each ear that kind of forces you out of your body. At least, let's say in increments, small doses. I don't know. It's a strange thing to think about, kind of being forced into that space without recognizing what's happening. And that's another question as we start. Has that ever happened to you? You think you were maybe listening to something, or there was some kind of actual stimulus, maybe visual, maybe auditory in some way, that started to force you out of your body? Anybody ever had that experience? Not me that I remember, but I do. Let's see, thinking about it this way, I would guess that sometimes you might not notice. Maybe this type of thing is happening all the time and we don't recognize it. Okay, so now the weird part about this is, so the second part of this, so the dream that eats you. Now you get pushed into the dream, you're stuck. You can't get out. That's what that refers to. Okay, so you're forced into the dream space. You cannot escape. What happens then? And so I was just kind of riffing with Grok, which Grok has improved a great deal if you guys are using the AIs at all. And Grok suggested that there's a Monroe Institute technique whereby they went into these spaces, Locale II and beyond, looking for basically trapped souls, looking for out-of-body travelers that had passed on and didn't recognize where they were. And they were trapped in these maybe karmic states, kind of like the Bardo, from the Tibetan Book of the Dead that we talked about recently, the Bardo states. But they were in this ethereal space, and they get stuck in these loops, and they don't realize maybe it's a tragic passing, and they don't realize they're gone. Maybe there's that karmic aspect that kind of draws them in these circles, these cycles where they metaphorically chase their tail in the same space, creating the same trauma experience or creating that personal hell. And so as I'm going through this and digging into the Monroe Institute a little bit, it turns out they did do these soul retrieval missions. Like they took teams of people and they went into these spaces to find lost wandering souls and then draw them back, not force anything, talk to them, comfort them, ask if they knew where they were and if they understand what was happening, and get a consensual contact for them to help draw them back into safer spaces in this Locale II of, again, the Monroe Institute stuff. And what do you guys know about the Monroe Institute, by the way? Do you believe this stuff? Do you believe you can out-of-body travel? And that becomes the thing, right? I think when you look at all this from the aspect of, some people would just roll their eyes and go, this is nonsense, Mike. Cool. Like, that's fine by me. That's the whole point of this. And other people will be like, no, it's very real. I do it. And I've talked to people that have done this stuff. So imagine being sort of a lost soul in that space and having an entity come to you and bring you sort of back into the light or into a space where you can move on. And it got me thinking in terms of not just, let's say the soul retrieval missions of Robert Monroe, which I didn't know were happening. I guess they were happening in the late 80s into the early 90s, and they still do these things at the Monroe Institute, which is wild to me. But when you kind of bake this idea into where we came from, where we're going, and all the rest of that, it seems as if in the human experience, this is like a reverse psychopomp, right? Because if you remember, the psychopomp is a soul or an entity that meets your soul in the passing space. Okay, so when you do pass on, we talked about stay away from the light, go to the light, this type of thing. Like, how would you know if you've never experienced that at all? Well, enter the psychopomp, car on the boatman, things like this, where there are these liminal spaces of the passing soul, and there are gatekeepers, so to speak, metaphysical gatekeepers, entities, demigods. What would you call them? Psychopomp is the appropriate term, actually. But think of it this way. So now we have lost souls in the soul retrieval missions that the actual Monroe Institute did, and they would bring them back to the light, sort of like a reverse psychopomp aspect. And so these people that are caught in these loops, in these, recreating a situation, a guilt or trauma or whatever it was, that they are now drawn out of that space and released, freed, kind of brought back to the light of understanding where they are and what they're actually doing. I don't know. The entire thing's wild to think about. And so I'll get into some of that and read you some of the soul retrieval stuff that they do. But they take a team of people and they go basically in search of lost souls into Locale II and beyond, and some of the other more liminal places of the out of body or the astral experience. Like I said, this is all conceptual to me because I don't practice this stuff. You guys know I'm highly fascinated with it, but I don't do it because, of course, it's easy to lose yourself and, a lot of that stuff. And one, I don't have time. I run home and I do this instead. Maybe I should stop this and do that. I don't know. What do you think? But you get the idea. I'm just playing. But that's what this comes down to. And I do wonder if this is not just possible, but maybe this is something that we do when we dream, when we sleep. And is it possible to knock somebody into the dream space, okay, through some level of technology, through some chemical compound, through some combination, some, again, auditory drums or chanting or these types of things. So anyway, that's where we start. That's where this begins. And I hope everybody's well tonight. We are taking your calls if you want to be part of the conversation. The number to call, of course, will be 702-857-6939 until we get the other number fixed. Still working on that, having all kinds of problems. And I was surprised to find that the Monroe Institute actually spent some time in, again, mid to late 80s into the 90s doing these missions, actual soul retrieval missions in the out-of-body space to rescue entities, to rescue a lost soul. I mean, does that sound wild to you? And do you believe that's real at all? Because, of course, the Bardo states, we talked about it, sort of that karmic completion. And if you prepare enough through your living Bardos, then you just pass on. You don't have to deal with the karmic consequences of yourself because all of that's been resolved when you were living. But in this case, merging two ideas, the out of body of Robert Monroe and the Bardo states of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, it seems as if they're suggesting they go in and find these lost souls that are in these hell loops, and they ask them if they'd like to come back out and back into the light and escape. I don't know. What do you think? Does it seem too far-fetched, too far afield? Maybe. I mean, that's the entire point of these conversations. We're supposed to, press the envelope a little bit and consider what the hell's actually going on. But what do you know about this? I'm calling this the dream that eats you. Soul retrieval missions of Robert Monroe. And of course, can you force people into the dream state? Yeah? No? Somewhere in between? And do you think they're related? I don't know. One more time. Love to hear your thoughts tonight. If you want to be part of the conversation, give me a call, 702-857-6939. Put your hand up on the Discord, troubledminds.org. We'll see you in just a moment. We got Jorge coming up first. when we get back from the break. Don't go anywhere. More coming up. More Troubled Minds on the way. Jorge and your calls as well. Be right back.
You're tuning into Troubled Minds, the show where mystery knows no bounds. Stay tuned for revelations that'll keep you questioning the fabric of reality.
Teeth in the carpet, shadows in the frame. You wake in a hallway, but every door says your name. Clock hands are crawling backwards through your chest. You chase your own echo, it never lets you rest. It's a dream that eats you, bites down slow, chews through the light. Every fear you sleep through comes back sharp in the middle of the night. I'm on soul retrieval missions, pulling you from that black tide, from the dream that eats you, back to the body you hide. You walk through a kitchen, place full of doubt, voices at the table, but your tongue's torn out. I draw a white circle right there on the floor. Call your scattered pieces from under every locked door. From the dream that eats you, bites down slow, chews through the light. Every fear you sleep through comes back sharp in the middle of the night. I'm on soul retrieval missions, tearing seams in the dark sky. From the dream that eats you, back to the body you hide.
Of course, it carries on some more, but I want to say hi to the chat. What's up, Partial A Pockets here? Is that Roving Fungus? What's up, Matzel, the Robert, and Jorge? We'll talk to Jorge momentarily here. Hope everybody's well tonight. Just doing Troubled Mind stuff, Mike stuff. Sorry for missing the other day. Like I said, sometimes work just gobbles up the whole day, and there's nothing you can do about it. Bad luck does happen. What's up, Gordo and Puff over there on Rumble? Yeah, Rumble crew is maybe taken off to greener pastures. What's up, Mr. Duffy's here, SRS Junglist. I see you guys. Good evening. The God is here. What's up, Matsal, Ioxy, Roving Fungus. What's up, Stephen England? Hope you guys are doing great tonight. Just hanging out doing mic stuff and talking about Wild Ideas by Dark of Night. Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up. We've got Taxi Graveyard. How you doing over there on Kick? And yeah, if I missed you guys, I'll circle back and say hi. Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up. We got Jorge and your calls as well. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, What if the voluntary portals opened by sound technology and the involuntary traps of the sleeping sickness are two sides of the same doorway? We'll add the sleeping sickness in a minute. One entered with training and intent, the other forced open by unknown forces. Both lead to the same space, both confirm the same risk. And the risk I'm talking about is getting caught in your dream. Has anybody ever been stuck in a dream, sort of in that moment of, what would you call it? It's not just a night terror, but it is when you wake up and they say it's the alien abduction experience. What is that called? It's called there's a moment there. It'll come to me in a second, but where you're kind of frozen. You're awake, but you're still sort of locked in the dream space and you can't move your arms and your legs and you're stuck. And yeah, they say that's when the aliens visit, or those demons that weigh heavily on your chest. Some of these old ideas, these old tropes, and how they fit into this conversation, I think is wide and varied. And that's the entire point of this and talking about these ideas. And do you think it is possible to not just force somebody into a dream, but to hold them there and keep them there? So we'll get to the sleeping sickness momentarily. I don't want to blow all the good stuff right out front here, but love to hear your thoughts on this. As usual, we're taking your calls if you want to be part of the conversation. 702-857-6939, talking dream states, talking out-of-body experiences, talking this soul retrieval mission. And is it possible to get stuck inside of a dream? And if so, how would you get out? Let's go to Jorge. Jorge on the Discord. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you today? And go right ahead.
I'm doing great, Mike. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you very much for popping in here. I'd love to hear your thoughts. There's a lot of ways to take this, as you know. Take it wherever you like.
Oh, bro, I can go all day on this. But I think the word you were looking for was sleep paralysis.
That's the one. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I don't know how to explain this. Let me start from the beginning. I'm gonna lay out my heart here, just for you, Mike. When I was 5 years old, around 6 years old, I used to have a recurrent dream. That's because my dad kind of made it happen. The recurrent dream was that I used to see a hand at the end of a trail, and it used to scare the bejesus out of me. Then my dad told me that if you want the hand to go away, you have to confront it. It's I cannot help you in your dreams, so you have to help yourself. And so one time, I confronted the hand, and I got closer to the hand. And I was able to see that there was a face inside the hand. And then I still wanted to confront it. And the hand started bleeding. Bleeding from the palm all the way down to the forearm. And I was still scared, and I woke up and it happened again. And then I got closer to the hand. And then once I was able to look into the eyes of the face inside the hand, the dream stopped, just like my dad told me. But the weird part is that after that, I started hearing the voice of the person that was inside the hand. And now the person inside the hand kind of started manifesting itself in different ways. And then it just kind of went away. And I missed it. I missed it so bad. It was because the voice guided me. I felt even though it was a menacing, powerful entity, I just felt he was like my dad or something, or he was like a familiar spirit. And I missed its power and its presence and its warmth and its love. And so I started doing different techniques to try to get that back. When I was a teenager, I started reading a lot of Carlos Castaneda. I don't know if you heard of him.
Sure have.
And so there in the Carlos Castaneda, the first two books that are techniques for dreaming, where Don Juan kind of teaches him is you have to be on a porch and just sit there idly, walk forever, with your fist clutched. And so eventually you're going to be able to control your dreams. And I did, but it was exhausting because I was not able to sleep very well, because once I started dreaming and controlling my dreams and going to different places in my dreams, that I wouldn't be able to get a full night's sleep, because I just wanted to keep exploring in my dreams. And so it worked, those techniques worked, but it was exhausting, and I just stopped. And then I realized that there was something missing, that along those travels, I was able to see symbols, and there were recurring events that I was not able to to predict or to figure out. Kind of like the world. It's like, you predict that you're going to wake up when the sun comes up, and you go to sleep when the sun goes down, or when you feel tired. When you're dreaming, you really don't have that. So you just keep going and going and going. And there are multiple things that happen in those realms that, just you cannot really figure out what the heck is happening or what's going on, or at least I was not able to. And so I started studying. I grew up in Los Angeles. So I used to study with a guy named Stephen Holler. He used to teach, I don't know if he still does, in this place, Philosophical Research Society down in Los Feliz. So I was with him for like 2 years, and he taught a lot about Carl Jung and the shadow and the reintegration and all that fun stuff. And I never really quite subscribed to it, but some of the stuff was kind of useful, particularly with my dreams. But then at that time, it was like I was not dreaming anymore. It was just too exhausting, especially because I was graduated from high school and I was starting to go to college. And so it was like college and then work and then trying to be in a band. And it was just too exhausting to like even not sleep at all. And so, but on that time, then he gave a lecture on the Golden Dawn. So he introduced me to some people that were doing Golden Dawn stuff up in Culver City. And so I started doing Golden Dawn stuff up with the people in Culver City. I graduated, and that's where I learned, those are the symbols that I needed. So even like the voice that I saw the voice or the hand that I saw when I was 5 years old has always guided me throughout my life to explore my mind mostly, because those are the things that I asked him for. It's like, teach me something new, or like, show me the truth about this. And so he's like, okay. So by happenstance, I just happens to meet Stephen Holler or bump into a book or talk to a friend that I haven't talked to him forever and he recommends a book, or I get a vision. You have to travel to this place. So I go and travel and have a particular experience. And then after I graduated from the Golden Dawn, I started doing Kabbalah, Hermetic Kabbalah, but that freaking sucked. It just doesn't go anywhere. Then I started studying Lurianic Kabbalah, and then that also has its limits because there's not a lot of stuff published. And then I started doing a Bulafian Kabbalah, and that's like another different realm of, oh my gosh. Like when you do it's like you go into different realms, but on that one you do breath work. It's like Abu Lafia says, like get yourself some tefillin. I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't know what that
phylacteries.
Is. Oh, okay.
It's kind of like you've seen it. It's kind of like you put like a little black box in your forehead and a little black box in your upper arm, and then you wrap the leather along your arm until you get to the hand, and then so you do your tefillin, and then you basically intone divine names, but on a certain breath work, but the breath work has rhythm. And that just like immediately, well, not immediately, but like if you practice it like for a month, you are able to like get on it like really, really quick. Like you just go through like multiple places really, really quick and without any substances. It's like just breathing gets you high. Even after the session, I couldn't because I used to do it close to a river. Because the river gives me so much more energy and so much more like force. And so when I had to drive back, I couldn't just get out of it and drive back because I was still high. Just from breathing. I had to like at least like sit on my car with my eyes open and listen to music or talk to myself for like 15 minutes. Otherwise, I would have gotten into an accident because it just makes you really, really, really dizzy. And as far as like your other question as like how do you get people into that stuff? In the Golden Dawn, I met people that, well, I don't know if you know how much I don't know how much about the Golden Dawn. The Golden Dawn, as this is the one that I joined, it was filled with psychiatrists. In fact, the leader was a PhD psychologist, and she also did therapy for people. And she was kind of like the partner of the guy who wrote the book on the Golden Dawn. His name was Rigardi, who was also, I think, a psychologist or something. And a lot of people that were within that circle were psychologists, and they also did a lot of hypnotherapy. So when they were able to talk to somebody, they got you in. If you were willing, because usually they were like mean, they were not mean people. But if they wanted to be mean, there was a way that they will talk. They will talk, or they will tap like on the table, or move their hands in a certain way. They were able to hypnotize people and just get them in a particular mode of thinking, or sometimes even sleep. And so that's kind of like one way of like not even Monroe techniques. It's just like basically they use like hypnotherapy like techniques to get people to
Yeah, that real quick on that. That's actually, I didn't even think of that. Like I was too into those other sort of seed ideas that got us to the conversation. But that's absolutely how you would do it. You would have some sort of hypnosis state and be able to maybe snap your fingers, count to 3 backwards, or whatever they do, whatever the technique is, and then you would force them into that dream space or the dream state. So now continue. I want to hear your story, but the end question being, can you keep somebody there? Can you trap them in the dream state? You don't have to answer that right away. Continue with what you were saying, but I do want to get back to that thought.
I don't know. I mean, that was kind of creepy. So I didn't really quite get into hypnotherapy. Like I saw them do it, and I was able to sometimes introduce myself to it, but I never really wanted to do it because I felt that it was kind of creepy. Especially because one of the guys, not inside of our group, but in another group, he was able to like get women in a particular state, and he took advantage of them. Not like super like horrible, but he obviously influenced them in a way in which they were way more willing to go out with him or do things with him.
I see. So
and
sort of put the seed in there, and then it kind of culminated later with what he was putting in their brain. Like that's scary stuff. That's why that stuff scares the hell out of me. Is that we were talking, shout out Axel. He's been away for a while. We haven't seen him in a minute, but he was telling me that he's done some hypnosis stuff. And he said, if you're going to do it, it's cool, but make sure if you ever do it, you have somebody you trust in the room with you that is not part of the session and can like watch to make sure that stuff is not happening to you. Right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like, even like the way like you speak to people, and also if they give you of like details about their lives, which is like the thing that really like traps them. Is like if they're like vulnerable in a particular area of their lives, they're going to exploit it just to take advantage of it. And so they say certain words that basically trigger something. And then that trigger, they're able to exploit it. One guy that was really good at this, according to my understanding, was L. Ron Hubbard. He was really good at that. And I think he was another person that was really good at that one was Jack Parsons. Of course, Aleister Crowley. The legend was that Aleister used to do it not even with words. He used to do it with motions. Like there's a legend that I guess the New York Times or like the New Yorker or some magazine was trying to figure out if he was a real magician. And then Aleister was like, well, why don't we go for a walk in Central Park? And so he goes to Central Park and he starts mimicking a person in front of him walking. And then he looks back and then he signals to the reporter. He's like, he's going to fall. And then he mimics the walking again and he drops to the ground. And the person in front of him also drops to the ground. And so he's like, oh my gosh, he's like a real magician. But it's not a magician. It's just a form of hypnotherapy in which they're able to get into the mind of a particular person. And then when you're good at that, like Crowley was, he was able to like tap into the vulnerabilities, and he was able to notice vulnerabilities in a particular number of people. But anyway, you want to know more about my story? I stopped doing the Abulafia stuff after having some communication with some stuff, which got me more into like Greek mythology, which is, like I was telling you, I'm writing a book about Hecate. And so now, like, Hecate taught me how to do other stuff where I don't even have to go anywhere. It's like I'm able to see stuff inside of a flame. So in Pergamon, they found what's called the Hecate triangle, which is just basically a piece of like bronze, which is basically a triangle, kind of like by 12 by 12 by 12, with like inside of it has like a little obsidian. And then a circle with 8 by 8 kind of squares and a nail. And then if the circle helps you, I mean, this is like, my interpretation. This is not scholar stuff. The circle gives you astrological phases and also breathing techniques, which is kind of like Abulafia a lot. But the Abulafia just tells you is like this is the rhythm, and it only gives you one rhythm. But the Hecate thing gives you that are kind of like like 8 scales, kind of like where you have like for example like a 4x4 or like 4x4 count, like most music, or 3x4 or 2/4. And so then on that one, sometimes you could like if you have another circle, which is also like the pitch, is like this is a C sharp, or this is an E, or etc. And so it's like you have to match the pitch and you have to match the beat. And if you look at the flame, it just gets you in there. I've seen so much stuff. It's so awesome. It's like I've seen like Greek temples where like priests are able, like they have the whole processions of priests, and they beat the ground, and like people following them around. But then also that one is creepier because you get to talk to dead people, and dead people are very needy. They're always asking you for stuff, and I don't want to do stuff for them. I'm just selfish, I guess. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now with my vision quest.
Okay, and so
am I crazy?
No, okay, no. Let me ask you just to clarify, so I understand here. So this is not the dream state. This is more of an out of body state. Like how do you actually enter the state? Is it like a ceremonial thing where you have to meditate and stuff, and you're stationary, or is this like walking around the street or whatever on a normal day, and these things are happening around you? Like how does it actually work?
Well, that's the thing. I look at the flame, like a candle, the little flame of the candle. You see everything in the flame of the candle, but it's not really the flame of the candle. It's kind of like the way your eyes kind of like start to do something with the meditation, where like your eyes kind of like start doing something, and when your eyes are in a particular angle, your stuff just starts pouring in. You see the images and you can hear the stuff. It's mostly images more than hearing stuff. And sometimes, like even when my idol is like it's like even when I'm peeing. It's like, you just stare at the wall. And even when you stare at the wall and you're not thinking about anything, then I sometimes dive into the wall and see things too. Because like it's so easy now with the Hecate thing to like be able to just douse and just go into things.
I see. Okay. So what we're talking in that particular space is flame scrying, pyromancy is what it's known as in the old ways. So, but you're able to do it without a flame. Okay. So super cool. Does this intersect with the dream space at all, or am I talking about two totally separate things as far as your opinion goes on this?
I think even dreaming is hard. I think there are like different levels of dreaming, and then there are dreams that are not even dreams. Like I don't know if you heard of like the telepathy tapes with Kai Dickens.
I have heard of them. I have not listened to them yet.
Oh, they're awesome. There are a lot of. She's doing a lot of investigations with people with near-death experiences, and the near-death experience is like a lot of PhDs are saying it's like no, they're just dreaming. It's just some type of hallucination, and so all of them are like, this is not a hallucination. And so there are some, like all of the people that have near-death experiences, they're saying this is not a hallucination. I have done drugs. This is not a hallucination. It is not sleeping. It does not feel like I'm sleeping. This is totally different. It's like all of your senses are like propped up. It's like you're dying. It's like, everything just like flares up. It's like all of your senses are trying to engage for you to be able to not die, or for you to be able to engage in this type of experience. And so when you go into like near-death experiences, like that is not definitely like a dream. And like pyromancy, I guess when you call it that, it is not like a dream state. It's also, you just kind of feel like you're dying. It's like, because the breathing, sometimes you feel like you're running out of air, but that running out of air is what gets you in the mental state to like just go out of your head, go out, like, because that's basically it. It's like you go out of your head, but the beat and or the time signature and the tones, it just like makes you just go into different realms like really fast. And so
I see.
So it's definitely, it's not like dreaming. You feel like you're dying.
I see. And this tracks. This is more of that shamanic sort of vision stuff that goes way back. Again, this is ancient stuff we've been talking about for a long time, the drums and the rhythms and this type of thing. And if you can pick that out of daily life and just sort of enter this trance state anywhere, that becomes that next level, right? That's amazing. Is it possible to trap somebody there? So that becomes this question that I was asking earlier. Maybe not just a dream state, but if you, let's say you go into this pyromancy state where you're seeing, let's say, is it possible to kind of lock somebody in that space through hypnosis or any other means that you've heard of?
Not that I know of. I mean, you can, but it's kind of like, but that has to be induced through like, substances. But it's kind of like, it's kind of like Carlos Castaneda said. It's like, or Don Juan said, is like there's like a little like a silver cord that it's kind of like you come back to it eventually. But I've never really been to like a place where like it's like the or at least the places that I have been, they're not like this world where you're trapped in your body. It's kind of like you're just part of something, and like you're just part of the place, but you're not really out of the place. Or I mean, it's not like you're isolated. And then this kind of like there's that silver cord that always pulls you back to your body.
Yeah, I was.
But I have been. There was one vision in which it was so powerful that I didn't want to stay because I felt that I was gonna stay there, and I was so scared. And then there was a spirit guiding me too, and the spirit was like, "If you're scared and you fear, you'll go back. But if you're scared, just go back." And then I told him, "He's like, yeah, I want to go back." He's like, "Okay, fine." And then he brought me back, but I've never met spirits that are just stuck there.
Okay. Which is the premise here. So again, the famed Robert Monroe talked about these out of body experiences where they would do these soul retrieval missions and find people stuck in these states. And I'm talking about the astral, like the actual into that. He called it Locale II, and then beyond that Locale III, which we've done whole shows in the past on. But just interesting all of this, and I was curious if it was possible to maybe force someone into that state and then maybe even keep them there. And I know it sounds mean or bad or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, is this something that we've heard of, we've talked about? Because if that's the case, bringing them back as part of these, soul retrieval missions makes a ton of sense. But fire stuff, brother. We got about a couple minutes left. If you got anything else, thanks for jumping in here. Always amazing when you call us.
Well, yeah, I guess we got to define like get stuck there, because a lot of the spirits that are there, they don't have bodies, so they just live there. I mean, there are like I've seen some temples where like there are spirits that they're having a hard time, but they told me these spirits live here. They don't have bodies. And so I guess there are spirits that are stuck there, but if you want to bring them back, what are you going to bring them back to? Because they need a body,
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing, right? That becomes the next question. And that gets into some really dark stuff. Like, what would that vessel be? And yeah, I mean, we're moving into a transhumanist space where these vessels may become ubiquitous, let's say. But yeah, fire stuff. Look, I think, like you said, the definitions are definitely important. And I mangle these ideas intentionally to kind of break down the paradigms of what those definitions mean. You know me, that's why I kind of do this and try and look at it from, is this the same as that, and how do they sort of commingle, right, is really the question. I appreciate you very much, brother. Got about a minute left if you got anything else.
I don't know. You got me thinking about spirits that are stuck there, but I've never been on a mission where like I want to retrieve them. But there are some spirits that certainly do seem to like they're stuck there. But then I think about it, is like, how do I know that they don't have a body? I never really quite investigated that very much. Or whether if I can transfer that spirit into a body, or what could that body be? Would it be a dog or a plant or
right.
or what? That's just kind of like another realm of exploration.
Exactly right. All right, you think about that. I'll think about it. We'll reconvene at some point and we'll talk about it. Maybe you'll have a more specific answer to that exact thing. Appreciate you very, very much, brother. You're back on the game. Your YouTube channel is up and you're doing the thing.
Yeah, I'm doing my thing, posting it almost every day.
Okay, please go check out our friend Jorge. Very, very smart guy, into this very deeply, and go check out his YouTube channel, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down, it's alphabetical. It's JORGE. Actually, please send me that link because it says contact me. I don't have you up here, so I will send me that link again, and I will put it up tonight. Thank you again for the call. Thanks for jumping in here. Always a pleasure, and you have a great night, my man.
Sure, you too. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. 702-857-6939. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got the Robert coming up and your calls as well. What do you know about being stuck in a dream? Don't go anywhere.
This is Troubled Minds. Your host, Michael Strange, the master of the mysterious, is here to guide you through the shadows of the unexplained.
Let's check the news. A landmark moment in conservation history unfolded on tribal land belonging to the Yurok people in Northern California, where California condors have been spotted nesting for the first time in over a century. A pair of condors, designated A0 and A1, are believed to be incubating an egg inside an old-growth redwood tree, a development confirmed by the Yurok tribe, which launched the Northern California Condor Restoration Program alongside the National Park Service and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in 2021 and 2022. The species was down to just 27 individuals in captivity by the late 1980s, making this potential hatching a remarkable chapter in one of wildlife conservation's most dramatic recoveries. Program Manager Chris West urges measured optimism, noting that success ultimately rests with the birds themselves, with as little human interference as possible. Shifting to science news, a new study on ADHD medication has found that long-term use does not appear to permanently alter the developing brain, offering some reassurance to families and clinicians navigating treatment decisions for younger patients. And finally, thousands of fish nests have been discovered beneath Antarctic ice, leaving researchers genuinely surprised. A tethered underwater robot exploring the western part of the Weddell Sea, in waters exposed after a massive iceberg broke from a large Antarctic ice shelf in 2017, recorded more than 1,000 nests belonging to a small polar fish known as a type of rock cod. What stunned scientists most was the geometry. The nests are arranged in distinct, repeating patterns, curves, lines, ovals, and clusters, suggesting organized social behavior driven by predator pressure rather than environmental temperature. Researchers believe the site may represent a significant and previously hidden breeding ground that persisted, unseen, for decades beneath the ice. Thanks for listening to the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
Yeah, I recoded the news bot, and that's not the best voice. I'll fix that. Sorry about that. The news was good. The reading of that was not so good. Anyway, I hope you guys are well tonight. What's a Persian APOC? Jorge, fantastic call, my man. Please send me that link. I'll get it fixed tonight. I promise you. Thanks again for such amazing information and insight. That's so good. And are we allowed to talk about your thing, by the way? You're doing a new thing. Maybe I just don't want to mention it. I don't want to out you. Let me know if we're able to share that, because I'll definitely share that new thing you're working on. What's up, Roving Fungus? Satya, I see you there. What's up, the Robert? It's coming up next. Kelly, Matzal, you guys are the best. What's up, Roving Fungus? Mr. Duffy, Ioxy, Parker, Night Stalker. I see you guys. Thanks again. Look, I get seeing the world from different ways, but can we just please not? It is a rule here, not call each other names. Like discuss things respectfully. That's it. And look, I've got thick skin. Come at me. That's fine. Please don't call our other chatters names, and just don't do it. Please just don't do it. Okay. My actual patience does wear thin with that type of stuff. So come at me. Don't come at the other people. Be nice. Please be nice. That's the whole point. What's up? Who did I miss? If I missed anybody out there, sorry about that. OG Todd is here. Dude was here for the first episode. He jumped into the first episode for like 5 seconds. Was like, what's up, guys? And he left. And then, he hasn't been back since. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, Derek the Night Stalker? Is there a location where you're going when this happens? What do they call it? Separate from the dream realm, the astral plane, maybe the MOV zone, which Derek brought up last time. Actually, it does kind of fit into this. It fits into this conversation, I think, in maybe a surprising way. Yeah, I don't know. Stephen England, I see you there. What's up, Piker Emoji? What's up, La Radio? That's Kramos. What's up, La Radio Del Los Notables? I see you. What's up, Gordo? And who else was here? Puff sighting earlier. What's up, Faber Lignarius? I see you. Thanks for hanging out, guys. A lot of lurkers over there as well. I see you, Sylvain. Yeah, look, I don't know. The whole point of this is to kind of break down those, I call them dogma cycles, and think about where maybe some of this stuff is or isn't as well defined. That's all. It's really, there's no satanic stuff here, I promise. It's not that. This is about looking at the world slightly differently. It's very simple. What's up, sweets? I see you. Steve in England. Hope you guys are doing well. Here we go. Trouble Minds coming up in 10 seconds. We got the Robert and your calls as well. What do you know about this? I'm calling it the dream that eats you. Is it possible to get stuck in a dream? Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, I'm calling this the dream that eats you, soul retrieval missions. Now, I didn't know this. I found this out tonight. But the Monroe Institute and Robert Monroe, the famed out-of-body guy, Journeys Out of Body, he wrote the book. And then Far Journeys, I believe, was another book he wrote. He talked about in the mid to late 80s and early 90s about actual soul retrieval missions where in this space called Locale II, he took teams of people in looking for lost wandering souls to bring them back, to help them out, to face those Bardo cycles of maybe their cosmic dilemma or karma, and actually help them realize that they were no longer of the physical space, and to point out to them in different ways that, again, consensually, ask if they need help them, show them love and compassion and kindness, and then help them into a more hospitable space instead of their doom loop of their eternal self-made hell space. I don't know if you want to call this purgatory or, there are a lot of words for this. Sheol is another one. There's a lot of, again, and this is why this is so fascinating to me, these ideas, because no matter how you look at it from different, religions or aspects or belief systems the world over, there are a lot of parallels, a lot of spaces that kind of come into this. And I'm not sure if Mr. Monroe of the Monroe Institute was a religious guy at all. He may not have been. So there are people that are into science that are very into what the human soul is and means that aren't religious. They understand it or want to understand it from a scientific perspective. Look, I don't have a dog in those fights. Like I said, I am as radically agnostic as possible in all the ways, because I think it's important to get wisdom from everywhere. That's it. It's very simple. And wisdom is good. And I do believe in being kind to people. And that's that. It's very simple. That's what Troubled Minds is about. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you guys know about it? One more time, 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Easy as that. Let's go to the Robert. Thanks for being patient, guys. Thanks again to Jorge for the fantastic call. The Robert in Pennsylvania. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? Just unmute and it's all yours. Go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. You sound great.
When you were talking about earlier about hypnotism involved, it reminded me of a famous story by Edgar Allan Poe that was titled "The Facts in the Case of Valdemar." You ever read that story?
No. What's the name again?
The Facts in the Case of M. Valdemar.
I have no idea what that is. Never read it.
Well, it was made into a horror movie back in the 60s. It's a story and with Vincent Price. And it's a short story about a mesmerist, a hypnotist, who puts a man in suspended hypnotic state at the moment of death. All right? And he's dead. But he can't, he can't be released from wherever his conscious is, because the hypnotist has basically frozen him in place.
Okay, that's wild. So it is really at the heart of what we're talking about here. So sort of instead of a stasis of like suspended animation for the body to bring back, they're hypnotized at the point of passing, which is highly fascinating, because what does that mean? That's incredible.
Yeah. It's a short story, and maybe you should get it off the internet there and read that story. That's a good story. If you ever want to practice astral projection, and I'm not talking from any experience of my own, right? I probably have a couple of times, but All right. I just not sure. But one of the easiest techniques, from what I understand, is if you're lying down in bed, all right, you let yourself get calm. You gradually feel your start with the feet. Your feet relax, and your legs relax. Your pelvis relaxes, all the way up to the chest. You're feeling it relax. You're ordering basically to relax. You're imagining it, and that happens. And then you see what looks like a motion picture screen. It's white. It's a regular motion picture screen, and you will yourself to go closer and closer to that motion picture screen. And once you get close enough, your soul comes out of your body.
Okay. I see. I like that. It makes it sound a little nicer than kind of being bumped out like I've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like they did to the Hulk. Like, you know what I mean? Boom. Just knocked out your body.
Well, it's just, from what I understand, it's really the simplest way. You know, just like when you want an answer to something, usually the simplest solution is the best. That's the way you do it. I probably don't practice it much because it kind of scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, like I'm not sure how kind of deep that goes once you start doing stuff like that. And you know, power to you if you want to go kind of experiment and whatnot. But I don't know, like a lot of those things, like hypnosis specifically, just scares the ever loving hell out of me because for exactly the reason, like you don't know if you're the same you when you come back. And I think that's the whole idea of hypnosis is you're not supposed to be, but you also don't get to control it either. So there's a lot of really spooky stuff there that kind of, look, I respect it. I know that it's possible and it happens to people and people can do it. And there's even positive outcomes sometimes, but I'd imagine for every positive outcome, there might be a negative one too. So I'm not willing to flip coins with my brain. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. And when it comes to lost souls and rescuing them, the question is, why is those souls lost? And my own opinion of that is they're lost because they're so physical realm centric, earth centric, and have no idea, how to maneuver in a non-physical environment, because they're so earth centric. So physically centric. A lot of them might be rich people, and otherwise bad people. They're the ones that are probably more likely to get lost.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense too. It's and so you've never done any of this. You're like me. You're kind of like fascinated by it, read a ton about it, but you kind of like,
oh my goodness, I've been reading about this stuff since I was a teenager.
Okay.
I read all of Monroe's books. But then there's even a religion or a quasi-religion called Eckankar, all right, which involves soul travel. The guy that founded that was named Twitchell. He wrote a famous book called In My Soul, I Am Free. There's a lot of literature on this stuff. The problem is we're in such a stressful life, most people, like yourself. All right, you got so many things, so many irons in the fire. It's hard to relax and even contemplate, enough to contemplate such a thing.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. And again, so removed from a modern lifestyle, this stuff maybe even just comes naturally to people. I think that makes a ton of sense, kind of rewind 1,000 years somewhere in the forest and, think of sort of the native tradition and living with the world around you. I think maybe this stuff does come, in a campfire and a nice night and, looking at the stars. I think it's probably quite a bit easier to tune into something else, whatever that is, than it is now. Like you're right. I'm like, I run home, I immediately start doing this. I, barely have time to get a bite to eat, drink some water, and then boom, troubled mind starts. So it's, I don't have time. I just don't have time, which is unfortunate. I think I should probably peel some time out for it because it does seem as if there might be something to this, not just a lucid dreaming aspect, but the seeing two realms, whatever that means,
Well, how often, what's the average amount of hours that you do get sleep?
I sleep fine because I basically go from the time I wake up to the time I sleep. So I get like maybe 6 hours of sleep a night, something like that.
Well, you see, you're not doing anything better when you climb into bed. All right. So pick a day or pick a night. Make up your mind that when I crawl in this bed, I'm going to relax. I'm going to force myself to relax. I'm going to relax from my feet and gradually relax my whole body up to the middle, the mind's eye. All right. And then I'm going to visualize a movie screen, a white music. I'm having trouble talking. A white movie screen, and I'm going to imagine myself getting closer and closer to that screen. And I bet you pop. You'll start to feel yourself vibrate like hell. I've gone there. I've done that. Vibrating like hell, and it's going to scare that living Jesus out of you, right? When that vibration starts. But when that vibration starts, you're about to take the trip.
Okay, and the trip would be that OBE, that actual Robert Monroe thing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that too. Is that when they do the binaural stuff and the sort of the meditations, and I've read that stuff as well. That's as they describe it. You start vibrating. There's sort of this vibration aspect of your internal soul or whatever that is, kind of coming out of you, and it shakes like crazy. And earthquake.
And then you'll hear a pop. Simply like pouring the cork out of a wine bottle. You'll hear a pop. And that's when you're out of there. And just like the earlier caller said, there's a silver cord that's connected your astral body, your physical body, and it's really attached to the mind's eye, where that part of the forehead is, and that's why you can always come back. And it will stretch to infinity. It's like a light, a rope light, and it'll stretch to infinity. If you get scared at all, you'll come back immediately. That's what that cord's for, right? Because if that cord ever breaks, you're dead. Right? You're going over to the other side once and for all, forever. But that's what that cord for. So it takes practice from what I understand. And Monroe said this. You're going to get scared first time, maybe even a dozen times as this is happening. But sooner or later, you'll start to get relaxed, and you'll be able to actually expand to a degree where you're comfortable with what you're going through. And all the glories that you're going to see.
I dig it. What is that one? So you sent me a book, and I've read like a quarter of it. You sent me another book, and it's called
the reality, nature of reality.
Yeah, where they were channeling. Was it Seth? The Seth sessions?
Seth.
Yeah,
Seth sessions.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are terrific books. All right. This English teacher, she's married to a man who was an artist, and she started having this, connection with the Seth, who is oversoul. Like you have several souls. The oversoul is the big guy, but he's you. All right. And he was telling her the nature of reality. And she would speak, and her husband would be writing it all down, and it became these books. But remarkably, she was putting this stuff out long before physics picked up on this stuff. I mean, she was an English teacher, and what comes out of these books is things that were, that we come to realize years and years later about the nature of reality. And I don't know whether you've read that book, but you really should. It's very dense.
It is. I actually misplaced it. I'm not sure what's that. I had it and I was reading it, and now I lost it. I don't know if it disappeared. I'll see if I can find it again, because I was enjoying it. It was like I said, I got about a quarter of the way through, and it is very dense. But there's some amazing stuff in there that, like you said, you're really talking to yourself. And Jung talked about this. Carl Jung in the Red Book, he talked about sort of meeting an entity deep within and sort of a meditative state. But that entity was him. And it had a different name and all the rest of it, but it had all these amazing cosmic insights as well. And this reminds me very much of that. That's why I thought it appropriate to bring it up in this moment now.
Right. The Seth was actually her. All right. And he would refer to her in a man's name. I forget the name of that he used, but he would, he didn't call her Jane. He called her a man's name. Can't remember what it was. But there's more than one book. Matter of fact, if you want to take a little time when you're off the air, just Google Jane Roberts, and it'll take you to a website where all of her books are available. Her husband basically takes care of that. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but he basically takes care of that. Every one of those books is phenomenal.
Sweet. Yeah, I was enjoying it. Like I said, a lot of really interesting things there. It's almost like a diary, very much like Robert Monroe. Like, Tuesday, 6 p.m., this was the session. This is what was recorded. Mm-hmm. This is the information that came out of it. Yeah. Wild. And that's exactly how Journeys Out of Bodies is with Robert Monroe as well. Very, very similar to kind of just a diary of those out of body journeys. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, but I've always found it interesting. She died young, Jane Roberts. I don't know why. That always was curious to me because she seemed to know so much. Anyway, I'm running out of things to say.
Oh, perfect. I appreciate you jumping in here. Thanks again for always being there when I need you, and thanks for the amazing insight. A pleasure as always, and you have a fantastic night, brother.
You too. Hey, let's see here. APOC. She's got to know a lot about this.
Shout out APOC.
Let's bring her on here.
Calling out APOC. Appreciate it, Rob. Thanks again. Have a fantastic night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Good night.
Take care. You know me, love them. The Roberts, again, affectionately, the Robert, Stories from a Fractured Mind, the Robert Collection. Go check it out. TroubledMinds.org/friends. Scroll down. It is under The Roberts because that's his writer name, his mentor name. Click that. It's on Amazon. You can get it tonight. Order it tonight. Probably get it tomorrow. That's how fast Amazon works. It's like magic. Absolutely like magic. Love to hear your thoughts. We're talking sort of the Monroe Institute meets sort of a dreamscape aspect. Is it possible to keep somebody pinned in a dream, whether through its chemicals and I don't mean like a coma state. I mean, actually sort of, maybe magic, maybe, like we said, hypnosis, these types of things, and be able to kind of keep them from escaping the dream itself. I don't know. And there is that sleeping sickness, which we'll get to as part of this narrative. Appreciate you guys' patience with all this, and thanks for the great calls tonight. Love to hear what you think. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. Let's go to Shane, the blind psychonaut. I figured this would be right down your alley and summon you from the depths of wherever you've been hanging out. It's been a minute. Welcome back, Shane. How are you? Go right ahead. Test 1, 2. I got nothing. Shane, are you there? Just a reminder, if you guys are using Discord, do update it before you hop onto the stage here, because it is, like I said, it was the bane of my existence for probably several years, not realizing Discord updated like 5 times a week or whatever. What's up? Shane, are you there? Test 1, 2. Okay, if you can update the Discord, try and come back, unless it's something else that you know about and you're fiddling with maybe an audio source or something. Okay, I'm going to read this before we get to Shane here. Hang tight, guys. So check this out. So this is from 1985, the book Far Journeys by Robert Monroe. Okay, and this is what I was talking about. So these rescue missions, these soul rescue missions, this is how he described it, right? So that term captured the core of what he was doing: deliberately entering non-physical territories to locate and assist consciousnesses who had become trapped after physical death. These were not dramatic interventions with force or ritual. They were quiet, compassionate navigations into the belief system layers of Locale II, where a soul might be looping endlessly in its own fear, denial, guilt, or rigid expectations. He described the process in straightforward terms. He would shift to the appropriate focus levels, find the stuck individual, often someone who did not realize they had died or who had created a personal limbo around a single overwhelming belief. He would make gentle contact and help them recognize the truth of their situation. Once awareness returned, he would guide them toward the brighter open reception area he mapped as Focus 27, known as the park. What's the Beetlejuice subway, right? The liminal space of liminal spaces, where helpers, loved ones, and healing environments waited. So Monroe emphasized that free will was never overridden. The rescue was always an invitation to remember and move forward from these, again, Sheol cycles or limbo, like that type of space. So Shane, welcome back. Are you there? Go right ahead if you're, thanks for being patient, and thanks for getting it fixed if it's fixed. Test 1, 2. Shane, are you there? Negative. Yeah, Discord can be goofy. Let me know. I'm gonna keep talking. Just interrupt me. I'm gonna go back to this. Okay, so as his explorations in this space deepen, these soul retrieval missions, like I said, which I was surprised to find out. I didn't know about this till today. But as his explorations deepened and he trained others, the same work came to be described interchangeably as retrievals or these soul retrievals. So they sent a team in to this Locale II in the out-of-body space, and they looked to rescue souls who were trapped. Like, how wild is that, right? Anyway, so this phrasing highlighted the practical art of locating and retrieving a consciousness from its self-made trap and escorting it home. Okay, whatever home is, right? Monroe saw these missions as a natural extension of his mapping of the afterlife territories. What began as personal adventure turned into a sort of an afterlife service. Proof that the dream space, while powerful enough to hold someone indefinitely, could always be opened from the inside by someone who knew the way. And you see why I'm madly fascinated with this now, because that OBE stuff in the Robert Monroe, the Monroe Institute, not only were they sort of learning about that metaphysical space outside of ourselves, suddenly they were looking for lost souls and trying to literally bring them back, which is, again, incredible. Like I said, I had no idea about this until today. So it is, it's something. Yeah, you learn. Look, I've been in this in the weirdo game for what, nearly 8 years now. Is it almost? I mean, 7, 8. I don't know. It's been a long time, and I've never heard of this particular aspect till today. So there's always new, amazing stuff to learn about this, and that's the point. I'm not preaching here. I'm not trying to convert anybody from this to that or anything. I'm saying, look at all these amazing things, these amazing experiences people have had, and listen to the way they describe them. Listen to the specifics of what an experience is. I think it's incredible here. I think that the larger context of this is absolutely wild. And I do wonder if you can get trapped in that space, then, clearly you can, because you would have to, at some point, right, to get rescued, you'd have to get trapped. We got a couple calls coming up bottom of the hour. Let's go. Got a couple minutes left. Jorge, jump back in here if you got something to add real quick, and we'll go to Derek the Night Stalker and Kramos at the bottom of the hour. We got 2 minutes. What you got? Go ahead, sir.
Super quick. I do remember I did help somebody get out. This was a long time ago, maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago. There was a spirit. He called, I like to call them Caco Diamonds. He had like about 5 female spirits trapped. And then they started calling me, and one of them started calling me and helped them. Eventually, I was able to trick this was a recurrent dream. It probably happened like 10 times until I was able to succeed. And the 10th time, I was finally able to get that woman out of the Caco Diamond. He had kind of like a castle that he had built. Not castle, more like a fortress. And I was able to get her out. And once she was into like the kind of like a forest, then she was able to flee away from him. And then that's one thing. If I have 1 more minute, we all live in a dream. And based on like the reality that we adopt for ourselves is how we are trapped into someone else's reality. Brew on that one for a bit. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
You're the best, brother. Give Jorge a follow. Link is in the chat there. He just sent it to me after the call. Appreciate that. Always a pleasure, brother. You take care. We'll talk to you soon. Go give him a follow. I'll add it tonight. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It'll say follow Jorge here. Just click that. Go check out his YouTube channel and do it straight from the deal. Out of time in this segment. I appreciate you guys being patient. We'll get everybody in the bottom of the hour. Look, I'm calling this the dream that eats you. Is it possible to get stuck in a dream state? And not only that, is it possible to maybe force the issue? And, to the Monroe Institute, they suggest, like I said, and whether you believe it or not is irrelevant to me. Like, if you're like, no, this is nonsense, I'm like, cool, perfect. You're in the right place. Because I don't know if I believe it either. And that's exactly the point. What is going on here? The dream that eats you, soul retrieval missions, and can you be forced into these altered states without your consent? And if so, like very much hypnosis-wise, which Jorge brought up earlier very smartly, and if so, how do you escape? 702-857-6939. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got Shane coming up, Derek the Night Stalker, Kramos, and that should wrap us up. You guys are the best. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way.
This is Troubled Minds. Your host, Michael Strange, the master of the mysterious, is here to guide you through the shadows of the unexplained.
Let's check the news. In a fascinating development at the intersection of physics and robotics, scientists at the University of Pennsylvania have successfully used Einstein's theory of general relativity to navigate microscopic swimming robots through a maze, without any onboard sensors or electronics. The researchers created artificial spacetime using light patterns, guiding the tiny machines the same way gravity bends the path of light across the cosmos. At roughly the width of a human hair, these electrically driven robots could one day be deployed inside the human body for medical applications. Turning to a story we continue to follow closely, investigators in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, have identified the source of mystery DNA found on a glove near the 84-year-old's home in Tucson, Arizona. The local county sheriff confirmed the DNA belongs to an employee at a restaurant across the street from the property, calling it unrelated to the case. However, the sheriff acknowledged that other gloves collected as evidence contain a complex DNA mixture that has yet to be fully analyzed. The search for Nancy Guthrie, who was reported missing on February 1st, has now surpassed 1 month with no arrest made. And finally, new research suggests Mars itself may be hostile to the very organisms humans might one day send there. Scientists at Penn State University exposed tiny water bears, the microscopic, nearly indestructible creatures, to simulated Martian soil, and the results were unexpected. Rather than surviving in Mars-like soil as hoped, the water bears showed significant distress, raising new questions about planetary contamination and whether the red planet has its own natural defenses against life from Earth. Thanks for listening to the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
Man, that is so robot-y. Sorry about that. What's up, guys? Hope everybody's well tonight. Please give Jorge a follow. His link is in the chat. Please, please, please. I'll add him to the website after the show tonight. If you should be on there, shout out Parker. You are on the website now. If you should be on that list, it's an in list, not an out list. All you got to do is help us one little bit. That's it. Sometimes call, be nice in the chat, kind of let people know a conversation's happening when we're not going to tell you who to vote for. And, we look at narratives outside the narratives. That's it. Just help us a little bit and you belong on that list. And I appreciate the help. We got Shane coming up, Derek the Night Stalker, and we got Kramos. And there's a lot here. I think there's a lot. What else? Sweets. Yeah. Thank you. Sweets pinning the stuff and drop in Jorge's links. Appreciate that. Carl's here. Good evening, Carl. I no longer call Carl Carla. Because it's Carl and Hanny. How you doing? What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. Gordo, Hiker had to dip. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for pinning this stuff as well. Sweets as well. And Gordo, what's up? Mr. Duffy, Parker, guest calls are done. Adios. Had a good one. We're not done yet. We got 30 seconds to go, and then we got a whole batch of calls. What's up? Who'd I miss? What's up? Janice here. Roving Fungus. I see you guys. Matt's out. Yeah. Tino, how you doing? What's going on? Is that who I think it is? Is that Tino? Hey, Tino. What's up, brother? I've heard a lot about you, I think. What's going on? Hope you are well. OG Todd, welcome back. Okay, here we go. Trouble Wine's coming up. We got Shane, and we got Derek, and we got Kramos. And here we go. Let us do it. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, all the places, all the things. Tonight I'm calling this The Dream That Eats You, Soul Retrieval Missions. Now, what the hell does that mean? Well, it's a mix of ideas, which is literally, look, that's the whole point of these conversations. I like to take some of these old esoteric ideas, take some bleeding edge science, look at them, as I say, squint with your mind's eye, and then wonder what comes next. How much of the past influences the future, and how far back does it go, and how weird does it get? It's simple. I mean, except it's not. It's very complicated, but that's why people should have complicated discussions based outside of, the schoolyard or the Wikipedia or whatever, the political spectrum. I mean, oh God, like I just can't stand politics. I just can't stand it. It's also disingenuous at least and false at worst. And that's the realm we live in. So, hey, let's build our own narratives and let's talk about these ideas together. Love to hear your thoughts. The Dream That Eats You, Soul Retrieval Missions, Hypnosis, being forced into a dream and held there, and the Soul Retrieval Missions of Dr. Robert Monroe in 1985 in his book, Far Journeys. What do you know about it? Does it fit? Does it not fit? Does it resonate? Do you believe it? Whatever. Take it wherever you like. 702-857-6939. Shane, welcome back. The Blind Psychonauts. What you got for us, brother?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Okay, cool. Well, I like your thought, your question about if can you be put into a dream state without falling asleep? I like I've said before many times, I believe it's we have our own individual frequency. And if we can figure out like our own frequency or like yours, then somehow, I don't know if it would be like a machine or what it would be, but if we can figure out how to manipulate individual frequencies, then yes, I think you can, I don't know, zap them, I guess. I don't know, like a direct energy weapon, which they already kind of have with like the voice of God, which I know we've talked about that on here before. But yeah, I think it's if not already been done in like black projects, but as like a mainstream, we're not there yet. But I do think that would be quite disturbing if like you're just sitting there and all of a sudden like you get zapped into like the dream realm or like out of body without even wanting to, like I don't know, like you said, being hacked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's easily, not easily, but can be done in the future.
That's what it would be. It would literally be sort of a mind hack. And I think of that scene from it's from one of the Infinity War movies where the Grand Master of the Temple before Doctor Strange knocks that the essence or the soul out of the Hulk, and his body just drops. But he's still floating there, kind of like talking to her, like, okay, well, I mean, I can't attack you now, but I mean, like that type of state, right? Imagine just sitting there like I don't know, like a laundromat or something, reading a book, and then somebody walks by and does something, some sort of somatic ritual, and then boom, you sort of enter a dream state yourself. I mean, that's a terrifying thought right there.
Yeah, like I've practiced a lot to be able to lucid dream, and there's been one thing that I was very curious about was the transition from being going from the wake state into the dream state. And I was I don't know how I'm able to easily lucid dream or get into the hypnagogic state. I chalk it up to my brain being rewired after losing my eyesight. I just think it was just one of those weird anomalies that I got fixated on, like, hearing and learning and reading, Robert Monroe, and then Robert Wagner, who's I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a very well-known lucid dreamer and researcher. And just like one night I just started, and I haven't really stopped since. But I was playing around with the hypnagogic state, like I said, and there was a point where I was laying in bed and I was holding my hand up and I could hear external, like my fan going on, and I had like a podcast going on, and I was able to transition from awake to the dream state. But what was weird was I felt my body completely get into the paralyzed state. Like my arm, just like my arm fell. Like I just completely went limp, which was kind of wild, especially to experience fully conscious. And but yeah, I don't know where we go. Obviously, I'm not that smart, but
stop it.
But
stop it. You're smart enough to keep up with all of us, and we're a pretty eccentric, smart group. So do not discount yourself. You're a very smart guy. I appreciate you. We got tons of calls stacked up behind you. I'd have given you more time if we got you on earlier, but now that we got your tech issues worked out, I look forward to talking to you soon in the next one. I appreciate you very much. Be well and keep up the good work. Okay.
Yeah, give me a heads up when you do another one of these topics, and maybe shoot me an email or something, and I'll get on earlier.
Okay, you got it. Do me a favor, send me an email if I don't have it. I think I have your email, right? If I don't, send it to me, and troubledmindsradio@gmail.com, and I will definitely do that. There's some topics here that I think I need to ping some certain people, and you're one of them for this particular space. So thank you for that. Thanks for being here. I will definitely do that in the future, and always a pleasure, my man. Have a great night.
All right, you too, and thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, we love him. Shane, the blind, lucid dreaming with the blind psychonaut, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It says follow Shane. Just click that. Boom. Take you to his YouTube channel. It's free. Go give him a follow. He's been a practitioner of this lucid dreaming. Like he said, he tragically lost his eyesight. And after that, he was able to lucid dream almost as if he'd been doing it his whole life. Like things change, right? Things change in your body. And then suddenly you have different ways of looking at the world and experiencing the world. Shout out, James. Hope you're better as well. And that's the point, right? Like, everybody's not the same. We're the same, but we're not the same. So how does that fit? And is it possible to get knocked into the dream realm and be kept there? I don't know. 702-857-9539, I believe is the number to call. Let's go to Derek in Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. Thanks for being patient, guys. And let's get quick so we can get everybody in here. We got a couple more behind you. We'll go a little late to get them in, but welcome to the journey. Okay. How are you?
What's going on, Britta?
Chilling, man. Doing the thing.
Great show. Great calls, everybody.
Thank you.
I had a real dream. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me all set and everything?
Yeah,
my internet's a little wonky.
Nope, you're good.
I'm kind of lagging a little bit. You can just bring the other calls in. No big deal. I don't have that much anyways. And I'll be too frustrated if my internet's all messed up. But
okay.
Great show. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you. I can hear you. We can hear you. Apparently you can't hear me. That's okay. All right. That's fine. If it's going to be a
little laggy on my end.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. We'll catch up another time.
All right, sorry about that.
No, you're good. Appreciate it very much. Derek the Night Stalker. You know we love him. troubledminds.org/friends. The Night Stalker. Please go give him a follow in all the places. Yeah, it does suck when you're doing this live, right? And kind of have like a lag space in that aspect. Yeah, sorry about that. I hate that the technology kind of warbles sometimes, but it does. 702-857-6939. Let's go to the Discord. What's up, Kramos? Notables Radio. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me good?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Welcome to the joint. What's on your mind?
Okay, cool. Very short. If you let me, Michael, I want to give everyone a piece of advice. It's very short. Intoxication is the intoxication of the organism by the sound. So as we all know, we are witnessing something very sad, that's war, and my advice is for everyone to protect your organism and the organism of your family, the elderly mostly, because the repetition of screaming, bombs, shot fire, missiles, explosions, whatever, it's very, very risky for sensitive organisms. With that being said, I think from the topic, I appreciate Michael. I always wishing you the best for you and your family, and I'm not going to ask you because I know you have a lot of calls, but I think my point in this topic is that I have, when I ask anyone, what is your first memory? And when somebody years ago asked me that question, I have a pretty clear, perfect image of my first memory. And my first memory is myself. I'm watching myself in the crib. So I don't know if that was a dream or it was something else, but I think it's interesting how some people don't remember their dreams, or in my case, when I don't remember, or when I remember not entirely, or the dreams that I remember perfectly. Like I have dreams that I remember today that I had when I was a little kid, but I remember those dreams perfectly. I don't miss any detail. So with that being said, I think a dream in this system, how the world is today, is something very delicate. So that's why I was giving the advice that protect your ears, protect the news sounds, because you can be informed, but you're not obligated to hear all the sounds and intoxicate your organism.
Yeah, well said. I can't, as you were saying that, I can't remember my first memory. Like I'm thinking about it, it's like a wash of memories. It's like a big, many of them kind of come in one singular space. So yeah, I don't know. It is wild that maybe you had an out of body experience as a baby in the crib. That's incredible. Appreciate you, Kramos. Thanks for popping in. Go ahead. Final thought.
Thank you. Final thought, be aware that we are entering in this year, and darkness is always, I always say this, darkness is desperate because light will prevail, and it's advancing, and the darkness, this despair and the frustration is working, because you will see how darkness will try to interrupt, infect, and contaminate harmony. So be safe, take care, and God bless you all.
And you, sir. And continue to be the light. Always a pleasure. Kramos, you know him, Notables Radio. He got banned from his other thing, so go follow his new thing. I'm laughing because I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. It's part of being in the game, right? That's why I'm like, hey, let's be careful. We say certain things. don't want to get banned on YouTube. That would suck. That's a lot of work that goes into that. troubledminds.org/friends. Click the friends link. Scroll down. It says follow Kramos. Alphabetical. There's C right there. Just click that. It'll take you to his link tree, which he controls now and can add. If his new one gets banned, you can still find his link right there. Don't get banned anymore, bro. 702-857-6939. See how I am. Let's go to Parker. Parker, you are on Troubled Minds. I hope the phone line works. Can you hear me? What's up, brother? Go right ahead. Test 1, 2. Parker, are you there? One moment. Going to make sure everything's working properly on this end. Actually, it's sorry about that. Go ahead.
Hey, it's Parker. So I'll be really quick because this is kind of a thing. So I have a friend who's done a lot of psychedelics and LSD and stuff like that. I've kind of experimented my own a little thing, but I never go too far because I think it's good to keep balanced. And his whole belief system, basically, and I feel like he's kind of fallen into the pit because of this, is because of the DMT and LSD. He really believes everything is kind of machine-based. He has this very kind of almost physicalist perspective about life and himself. And it's very strange. And I believe it's mostly because of a lack of a philosophy of mind when we approach these philosophies, a balance of understanding of the bicameral mind and how religion is used as a formalism of belief. such as like I would call myself a pantheist, basically, that like everything is God in some form. But then there's, nuances to that. Like there's autotheism, which is Advaita Vedanta Hinduism, like Atman and Brahman unified as one. And then his viewpoint through the LSD and drugs is kind of like a syllogism, like yourself as God, but also as like a trapped being in a weird way, which comes into all those, soul trap and weird ideas of being trapped or in a prison in some way. And I think like philosophy of mind and understanding kind of a formalism of belief when talking about these subjects is extremely helpful. So I just wanted to get that idea out there.
Wait, did you say formalism or informalism?
Formalism, a structure, just something to follow along so you don't get lost.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, so me being, and I've said this a lot, I'm not a religious guy, but that doesn't mean there's not wisdom to be found in those spaces. And I think it's very important. And you hear me talking about the old ideas for exactly that reason, because I think it is easy to get lost without sort of that rudder. And look, two things can be true at the same time. I'm not saying that structure is morality, right? Morality can exist without that structure. However, when you don't have an anchor, it is, I agree with you, it is difficult to navigate a very difficult world without getting lost in its madness, because it is madness. There's madness everywhere you look.
Yeah. Well, I mean, religion, you could say, is just when you hit the boundaries of structural belief, which is why it's so easy to use to manipulate people, but it also holds so much meaning in it because it's, the individual and the group as a whole trying to figure out what's next, even if it can't be conceived yet. That's where its value is held, I believe.
Yeah, 100%. Do you know anything about Monroe and sort of the soul retrieval aspect? You got a take on that? You think any of that stuff is possible, or do you think it's sort of a spin in circles? We got a little bit of time if you got anything to add to that.
Yeah, you know me, I do. I've gone the gateway process. I've watched, listened, read quite a bit. I haven't read all his books, of course, because I think he wrote like 40 something frickin' books. It's a lot. He wrote a lot. And man, I went to level 15. I think there's level 55 known levels out there, 33 that are pretty easy to get access to. The last 22 kind of hard to get access to. I'd have to look into where if I can find them without having to pay for it. You can pay like $200 or something to try to get all the original tapes. Is it possible? There's a lot of evidence to suggest it is. My main concern isn't if it's possible. My main concern is just trying to understand, just like our discussion with kind of a religious formalism or understanding a structure to read the boundaries, as it were. We're kind of like reading the tea leaves with some type of understanding of cause and effect, or effect and cause. We have to kind of approach it in that way. It's very difficult. I think it's possible, but I am very concerned because I've said this before, I believe, that they actually have ingrained brain waves inside like the Monroe tapes. I know how to make my own binaural beats, which is really easy to do. You can get an app on your phone to do it. And you don't have to worry about anyone implanting any like subconscious audio implementation, just like with screens, and they can do instantaneous flashing, kind of related to MJ12 projects in the past. They can do that for audio too. Actually, all of your senses, they can do that. There's a way to do that kind of instantaneous, really quick reflex reaction in all 5 of your senses: touch, sight, smell, hearing. Yeah. So be aware of that.
Yeah, kind of like
subliminal messaging can be done with all your senses.
Yeah, kind of like Jorge was saying, sort of the hypnotism just with somatic sort of gestures, like when he was talking about Crowley doing that, or was it L. Ron Hubbard? But okay, here's the thing on that. Now, the wild part to me is that, so if you can leave the body, where do you go? You've done this stuff. Is it possible to get lost out there? That's really my question. And we talked about the silver cord tonight and some of these other things. Have you heard of any of that in your space where somebody kind of went and maybe not entirely lost, but maybe left a part of themselves there, something to that degree? Tell me about that if you can.
Yeah. Okay. So the only way you can actually find this type of information is you'll never find it if you do the Monroe path. You have to go down demonology. So down demonology's path, there are people who do this in different ways. They use esoteric means, symbolism, beings, yada, yada, yada. But there are a couple that I found. I don't know where, I've lost the sources, but I know for a fact there is 1 or 2 people, at least a story, where they did remote view and they approached specific beings. One of them was a reptilian, and another was something that's called a Mitra, which is a tall gray being. And either one of those have the ability to snatch you, basically, if you're outside of your body. They're powerful enough to do that, supposedly. These are just stories, of course. But I've heard that to be the case. And I've also heard something like that from Brown, the remote viewing group from MIT. So, yeah. Or was it MIT? I forget which group it is, but Professor Brown.
Farsight, Dr. Courtney Brown, yep.
Yeah, Courtney.
Yeah, sweet. Thank you for making time and calling us there at the end here. And thank you for testing the phone line. Everybody's scared of the phone line because of the one time it broke. So apparently the phone line's back in action, guys. It works. Appreciate you very much, Parker. Anything to add? And I'll tell everybody about your YouTube channel. We do have a few minutes if you got anything to add.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, my YouTube channel is the Experiencer Portal. I'm working on the first video right now. I've been putting it off for a year and a half because I'm just very serious about this thing, but also trying to be somewhat entertaining. But irregardless, you can also do my Substack, which is EX Parker, EX Parker on Substack. I put articles on there, and all 9 of my sightings and experiences that are important enough, I have written on there as an article as well. So you can do that. So, yeah.
Super cool. Do me a big favor. Make me a link tree with all of your links, and I'll swap it with what you got because I just have your YouTube link there. If you have multiple things in action, a link tree will have them all. And if one you just decide not to do anymore, you can discard it, take it off, but your link stays on my site. Okay. So that's the best way. Pretty please make me a link tree. It'll have your Discord, or sorry, not Discord. It'll have your YouTube. It'll have your Substack and everything else you decide to add later down the road. So please do that. Get that to me. I appreciate you calling. Thanks for staying up late. Thanks for listening to the show. Unless you have anything else.
No, I don't have anything else, and I'll make that link tree. Hey, guys, just stay positive, okay? I think good things are going to happen. It's going to look dark, but good things are going to happen, all right? So keep your head up.
Amen.
Have a good night, guys.
Amen, brother. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for that. Have a fantastic night. You know we love him. That's Parker. Again, go give him a follow. Links in the description down below, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down just a little bit. It's alphabetical. It's P Parker. Click that. There's his YouTube. He'll get me a link tree. And by the way, just a reminder, if you want to be added to this list, the best way is to have a link tree so you control everything. And shout out, was it Kramos that got banned? So we had his YouTube up there, and now it's a dead link. But now he made a link tree, and if he gets banned again, he just makes a new YouTube and slides it in there. I don't have to change anything. We don't have to disrupt anything. You can always find Kramos. Anyway, please do that. Yeah, fantastic call. And that's the point. And so I didn't know Parker had done the Monroe protocols, and that's super cool, right? Like, this is why we talk about this in the open format we do. Look, we'll get bad faith actors, and we've been very lucky with that. If, shout out Fred and Kelly and, Joe, the people who have been here forever, the Robert, who've literally been here since almost the beginning of this entire thing. I think like the bad faith actors or like the troll calls or the stuff we get on this show, you can count on one hand. It's very low, which is, incredible because, we expected when Frank and I started this, we expected to just get people pulling our leg, like constantly, and it kind of hasn't happened. So yeah. Wild stuff. Yeah, that's it. That's what Troubled Minds is about. Kind of just thinking about these ideas a little bit differently, kind of mixing and matching some of these things and wondering what does come next. And what Parker said, I agree with. Look, I know times are challenging right now. I know things are going to get probably worse before they get better, but I do have faith. I have faith in humanity. I have faith in so many good people out there that are doing the right thing, even when nobody's watching. And I have faith that one day we will get to where we need to get, whatever that means. Okay. Whether that's individually, whether that's collectively, whether it's somewhere in between. I'm a glass half full type of guy. And, to my everlasting detriment, I'm a white pill guy. I just can't imagine waking up to a world where I consider the end is always the end. The end is always nigh. It's always in our face. And there's nothing you can do about it. I can't live in that world. I'm sorry. That's not what brings me here. That's not why I just talk to randos on the internet, which again have become just such great friends and such smart people that have, like I said, we're lucky to have such smart friends. So that's, me, I'm not here to tell you the end is around the corner. I'm here to tell you maybe, just maybe, better than you ever dreamed might be around the corner. If one is possible, certainly the other is possible as well, right? That's it. I'm just asking. I'm with Parker. Let's keep that at in your mind's eye and not give up hope on that, because if we do, then certainly we'll get what we ask for. That's that. You guys are the best. And I appreciate it very much. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for staying up late with us. Shout out Night Stalker. Sorry we didn't get you in tonight. We'll get you in the next time. And I get how the tech issues are. It's the worst when you're lagging and stuff. But see, all the things in the chat, I doubt it. Okay, I mean, whatever. OG Todd, welcome back. Todd's been here since the beginning. He dips out for like 2 years at a time, but welcome back, brother. Yeah, that's it. That's Troubled Minds. It's whatever night it is. That's it. I'm going to press the button and we're going to get the hell out of here. Thanks again for being part of this. Thanks for all the great calls. Don't forget to help our friends. That's the whole point of this. Is I could call this a troubled mind. I do not. I called it Troubled Minds. With the dream one day we would have a bunch of smart friends and interested parties that wanted to talk about ideas that were off the beaten path. Here we are. Dream is achieved. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for being part of this. Help us spread the word. Let people know a conversation's happening, but we're not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm not going to chase down and fact check political narratives. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. Did I mention help our friends? TroubledMinds.org/friends. 98% of the stuff on there is free. Please just go follow people's channels. Check them out on X. Check them out on YouTube. Go follow their podcasts. So many smart people with, look, a different perspective on the world we live in. Okay? That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's it. That's it. It's simple, right? Sometimes simplicity is the best. What else? I don't know. We'll be back on Sunday night, God willing. You guys know the schedule. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Working on some other stuff. I'll let you know. Yeah, there you go. Mr. Duffy asks, tell us who not to vote for. Chef Pete, shout out Chef Pete, says all of them. Yeah, yes, indeed. I think it takes a special sociopath to run for political office. A special type of sociopath. There's probably a scientific paper out there that's been done on that, but anyway, you guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being part of this. Thanks for caring about the conversations. Thanks for putting up with my nonsense, because I know I'm not the most eloquent sometimes. I'm a rambling mess, but that's the way it goes, right? This is a human space. So strap in for more human stuff, God willing. What else? I don't know. Hell, I don't know. Check out the KUAPDB. Let me see if I can pull that up and show you. Working on that. There's going to be a whole website dedicated to the radio station, which you can listen live, which we're on right now, of course, and trying to get us onto actual terrestrial radio. So if you guys want to help with that campaign and maybe call some radio stations and ask, wink, wink, organically, hey, are you guys going to get Troubled Minds on? You know what I mean? Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being part of this. If you want to help us directly spread the word, like I said, troubledfans.com. There's going to be hats, shirts, mugs, all this stuff. Like I said, I'm not in this to make money. I grind my guts out so I don't have to beg you guys to pay me. So that's that. That's that. If you do want to help, though, the option is there. Buy me a coffee, all that stuff. The links are in the description. That's it. That's it. That's it. Exactly. Chef Pete's got it right. This is politics in my mind as well. 2 flaming bags of poo-poo emoji. Pick your poison. That's politics in a nutshell. I agree. All right. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.